Before we got started tonight, I wanted to say a thank you to Ryan Sox, Booster Gold, and Caboose001 for the feedback and comments on the show. Thanks for the support. I eat my words just a little bit about filler episodes, Freaky Friday at the SGC, and Apophis isn't looking too good. All tonight on Chevron Locked. Hello, and welcome everybody to episode 13 of Chevron Locked Stargate Podcast. My name is BC. I am one of your hosts. My other host, Kevin.
Hello.
How are you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Are you?
Yeah, actually.
Doing a little rocking and a little rolling?
Yeah, things are looking up.
Nice. That's always good. You know?
Yeah.
Weather's changing.
They changed my prescription, so I'm pretty good.
You're getting more of it or just a better dose of it?
Something new.
There it is. So tonight, episode 13, we are almost done with season 2. We are on episodes 16, 17, and 18. Nope. Yeah, 16, 17, 15, 16. Yep. No, 16, 17, and 18. Sorry.
Yeah, you had it.
Yeah. I should never check myself, you know?
No, let the world conform to you.
You're damn right, sir. We're looking at A Matter of Time, Holiday, and The Serpent Song tonight. 2 really good episodes.
Just 2?
Okay, all 3 were good, but 2 were definitely more of a standout selection for me, I think.
Really? I'm hoping you mean Matter of Time and Serpent Song.
I guess we'll find out soon, won't we, sir?
I'm hoping.
Okay. So, we were talking before we started recording tonight. 2 things. One, have you gone and seen the new Kong movie yet?
Yes, I saw it last week.
It
was spectacular.
Okay, good. I'm actually really pumped to see that. And I was told, without spoilers, that I absolutely must stick around for a post-credit scene.
Yeah, it's worth sticking around.
Okay.
The build up for it was big, greater than the scene for me. So, I mean,
okay.
It's worth sticking around, but, you know, tamp down your expectations.
Yeah. No.
You know, they're definitely setting up for something else, which is good, and I'm on board. I'm just really glad that this entire movie didn't feel like the setup for something else, which is what I feel like we get a lot of times when movie studios just try to make their own shared universe.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that one. And I think we got it more, well, maybe not more, but I guess the worst, if you want to call it the worst that we've gotten of it so far was Batman v Superman.
Oh, that's exactly the example I'd have used. Yep.
Where you sacrifice a story to try to set up this shared universe, this shared continuity, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that BVS visually spectacular, you know, a lot of scenes in it absolutely match scenes out of comic books, like spectacular visually. The story didn't hold up, blah, 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 blah.
Yep. No, I agree with you, man. And it's a shame sometimes, you know, like they had an incredible amount of source material to make a hell of a movie with there. But I mean, all we can do is we hope that they've learned, you know, and they haven't, because I know I'm hopeful. Like I've said, you know, a few episodes back, I'm hopefully optimistic, you know, but we'll see. The other thing is you went to go see a movie tonight, right?
Yes.
And we talked very briefly because this was something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, you told me to shut up because you had some stuff to talk about.
I did. I didn't say it that harshly, though, I don't think.
Oh, but I took it that harshly.
Okay, that's fine. So what did you go see tonight?
I saw Beauty and the Beast.
With your wife, I'm hoping.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It was, you know, at the theater I work at, so total cost to me was like $11.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm gonna take the high road. I'm not gonna talk shit about you seeing Beauty and the Beast, right? Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it.
Okay.
I hate to say that out loud. I went into this thinking I was going to hate it. I had a list of problems with the Beauty and the Beast story. This addressed every fucking one of them. and I left smiling and happy. So.
Okay. And that is actually something I've heard, from other people that have seen it, is that it does address more of the story of Beauty and the Beast, of Belle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that being said, the reason I wanted to talk about that is that one of my favorite movies growing up and still holds, a good place for me is The Jungle Book, the animated Jungle Book, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I was kind of intrigued when they made that into a live action movie. I'm like, okay, like, they got Bill Murray to voice Baloo, and they had all these incredible voices in this movie, And, so I was pumped, never saw the live action, right? And it was on Netflix about a month ago or so, and I sat down and I watched it. And I couldn't have been any more angry by the time that fucking movie was over, because they had butchered the Disney version of The Jungle Book, right?
Yeah.
And in all fairness, I'm going to give them this fairness just in case, I'm wrong here. I've never actually read the Rudyard Kipling Jungle Book story, like the actual, novel or book itself. So I don't know if what they did was take a more literal approach to what he wrote, or if they took just certain liberties in the narrative to create more of a compelling story than what the animated movie provided.
Wow. I'm such an asshole that I just assume that, Happy Hogan there, I can't think of his name, didn't read the source material either. So, I'll just go with that.
Yeah. I was just, oh my God. Like, spoiler alert, right? We'll talk about this just very briefly, and then we're going to jump right into these episodes. Like, even small shit, like Mowgli never goes back to the man village. Like, he just continues living in the woods. And that's kind of that's what this story is about, is him and Bagheera and Baloo taking him back to the man village because he can't be there anymore, And right. It was just,
I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah. So again, I don't know in, Rudyard Kipling's original novel if that's how it ended, I should look into that. I've got a very sneaky suspicion though that Disney, and there was a lot more to that movie that they've changed, from the animated one, but it was enough that I was not a happy camper, was not on board with it at all. I know that they're getting ready to start production of The Lion King here soon with, Jon Favreau is also directing that one, and I believe he directed Jungle Book too.
Yeah, he did.
So, I don't know, man. I think that, I think they shit the bed on it. There was just so much of that story that was changed, and they added violence for the sake of violence. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, I
see the thing with Jungle Book, it was basically, you had one kid and the rest of it was CGI. So you had, you just said his name, Happy Hogan there.
Mowgli?
No.
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau.
Yeah. Sorry.
He had to have the vision to make this come to life. And I think that with Beauty and the Beast, there was a lot more, that they actually filmed rather than just make it CGI, which was spectacular.
Yep.
There was that, I'm sure that a lot of the set pieces were real. I'm sure some of them weren't, but I feel like they had a more grounded approach to this.
So, yeah.
And I'm definitely afraid of Lion King for the same reasons as Jungle Book.
Yeah.
All of the actors are going to be CGI. You get, Don Glover.
Yeah.
You got, Mufasa, Darth Vader there. I just don't, I don't see them coming. I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Yeah.
I don't see them coming to set and acting this out. I see them standing in a booth and
absolutely
what we're doing here.
And I will say this about the Jungle Book. The voice acting was done phenomenal. Like,
sure. Bill
Bill Murray, he was Baloo. Like, he was absolutely Baloo in every bit of it, But I don't know. It bothered the shit out of me. You took a giant dump on my childhood, and, Disney can fuck off for just a little bit, because we got Star Wars coming out, and then Disney can fuck right on, So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only a temporary timeout for Disney. Don't worry. They got so much other good shit coming down the pipe. I'm not too worried about it. So
the takeaway from this for everybody else, if you get dragged to see Beauty and the Beast, kick and scream so that you get something out of it, but enjoy it while you're there.
It's not the worst movie to be dragged to.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough. So let's get into it tonight, shall we?
All right.
We have, like I said, Matter of Time, Holiday, and Serpent Song. Let's start with A Matter of Time. And why don't you walk that through us for us, buddy?
Fantastic. So this episode of Star Trek Voyager opens with SG not number 1 getting caught when a black hole starts forming for some fucking reason. Of course, they call the SGC. We call them back after they hang up, and we can't hang up the phone then. Gravity and time start leaking through until we can MacGuffin a way to shut it off.
Yeah. Yeah, the end. That was, no. I'm going to say this first and foremost, all right? I'm going to take back some of the shit that I was talking last week. Because I was talking a little bit of shit about some standalone episodes and how I just don't get into them as much. This one completely 180'd me. Like I was this is very much a standalone episode, I think.
Yep. There's really nothing that ties it to anything else.
Nope. But man, from I don't know, like the first 10 minutes into it, I was hooked. Like it was just an incredibly good episode to me. Definitely after seeing it so far from episodes I've seen, it's in the top 10 for me. I thought it was incredibly well written. Visually was actually really, really good, even though we got very little special effects. More so towards the end of the episode when they start trying to like put a visualization to the black hole, you know?
Oh, but visually that was so cool.
It was really good.
Do that.
Yeah, really, really good. I thought that the writing between the dialogue, especially Carter's writing in this episode, was top notch. Was some of the best writing I'd seen her get so far. I thought that they did a really good job explaining what a black hole is and potentially what would happen if a real Stargate existed, like what theoretically could happen if a Stargate should get caught in that gravitational pull.
And it was kind of cool to see that like interact with two different ends of the wormhole and different spaces and how that's leaking through. I'm on board.
Well, and they did a great job. Even the start of that fucking episode, right? Where to the viewer, SG-10 is running very slowly. They're talking kind of, that slow drunk type of, staggered speech. And then, they started off, it was that intermittent RF pulse from the fucking,
the GDO.
From the GDO, correct. That I'm like, see, now that's such a small detail to put in there that really adds more depth to the story that you're telling,
Yeah, and they got some of the science right on this episode.
I think so. I mean, as far as I know, I'm not a fucking relative physicist by any means, but.
Oh yeah, no, I did a little research. They got some of it wrong.
Oh, what parts? I'm curious.
Jesus. Actually, it was the color of the video when they were looking at it through the MALP.
Yeah.
It was red shifted.
Okay.
And the video itself wouldn't be red shifted because it's traveling at the same speed as the other stuff. So a red shift happens when you're traveling, away from something at a significant portion of the speed of light.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it would be shifted towards blue if you're traveling towards something. But the image from the MALP wasn't traveling. It should have been normal.
All right. I can let him get by on that, just as a plot point, as a plot device.
No, exactly. But it's a the TV is a visual medium.
It is.
This was a great way to show that something was wrong.
Yeah.
I nitpick this stuff and I find fun doing that because I want something to be perfect. But when it's perfect, I find it boring.
And you're damn right, sir. But I felt like how they dealt with the time change, like above ground versus them being in the SGC. Like there was a great scene halfway through or maybe 3/4 of the way through where Hammond comes back. And,
that's exactly the scene I used. Yes.
He comes
He's
back.
Like, I've been gone for 18 days.
Yeah. And Jack's like, I thought you just made a phone call, and he's like, well, no, I've been gone for 18 hours. And Jack's just sitting there staring at him and whatnot. But, from start to finish, man, I thoroughly love this episode. I actually almost watched it a second time. I just didn't have the time. I wanted to get the other 2 episodes in. But yeah, just a fantastic episode. Absolutely fantastic episode.
That's great.
The only complaint that maybe a couple small complaints. Cromwell, which was the colonel that was sent in because the initial thought from the Pentagon was that the SGC had been invaded, because they had lost contact with them. So they send in what I think is a special forces team and it's led by this Colonel Cromwell. And you clearly see that him and Jack have history. We find out a little bit of that history and then Cromwell dies. Like it was I didn't need there to be any history between them, because then that death just seems really awkward. Like the conversation that they had about, and stop me and correct me at all, that Jack was left for dead in Iraq, basically.
Yes, that's exactly it. And watched them take off and then was taken prisoner and tortured.
To which Jack feels some anger towards Cromwell about this. And, but it was that part of the writing was a little weird, and that they tried to shoehorn that little beef between them and then Cromwell, and then they just kill Cromwell off immediately, or not immediately, but
I wish we had another episode with Cromwell before this one to build him up, or
I
they
agree.
use someone else that we've already met, because there's plenty of other people we've already met that we could have killed off in this scene.
Yes, I agree. It was just, I don't know, that just seemed forced. It seemed rush. But everything else, man, the whole idea with them trying to use the bomb to stop it and all this other stuff, just fucking fantastic.
But that kind of pulls from what we were seeing before, where, Carter even says it in the episode. When the gate jumps to the Antarctic gate, it's because of a thing on the gate. It's a power surge going through the gate, making it jump. So it kind of calls back to the other episodes, which is why somewhat standalone episodes like this, which I want to touch on again, don't bother me, because they still pull from older stuff.
Yeah. No.
And before we get hate mail and tweets and everything from the people listening, I did just want to mention, I do know, for anybody without spoiling anything, that this does come back at some point in the future. So this isn't truly a standalone episode.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for ruining that for me.
Nope, you'll remember.
I'm kidding.
You'll remember
I'm
when we get there.
kidding. No, and we talked in depth last week about this standalones, and I think you and I just kind of see them slightly different. But this one for sure is the best of the standalones I've seen so far. Because it just gave us such a very rich story, I thought, and I hope it does come back into play. But man, just loved the fucking episode. Absolutely loved it. Like I just said, the biggest gripe I had was the whole Cromwell Jack fucking dynamic was just weird and rushed. But, other than that, Daniel didn't fuck anything up this episode. So we had that going for us.
Yeah. I've got a couple of things.
Hit me.
First off, I loved the Star Trek-like opening on this, which is why I called it Voyager in my little description.
Ooh, it did kind of
where
have
we
that.
kind of fly through space and, around stuff.
Well,
kind of neat. Little different than what we're used to getting.
did we
from
fly by a comet at the start of
I
that?
think we did. Or we flew by a planet or something.
Yeah.
Like it definitely had that like traveling through space feel, which I loved. I thought that was great. When they first get the message and figure out that it's the GDO slowed down, how long were they going to wait before opening it? Because there doesn't seem to be a go button. I'm sure there is on the GDO, but like, were they going to open the iris? Were they not going to open the iris? Because they seem to have like a 10-minute conversation before they figured out that maybe they should let their friends through.
I don't know the answer to that one. I did kind of think about that when I was watching it. And the only argument I can make is that maybe it's just the time dilation, like maybe if they waited 10 minutes with SG10's time, relatively seconds had passed. I don't know. It would be the opposite actually, wouldn't it? SG10 would have had 10 minutes
we could take
pass.
as long as we want because they are not going to get through the gate.
No, they're not.
They're traveling so slowly, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But that was it. This, you remember my theory that Jack was electrocuted as a child? Electroshock therapy?
I forgot about it, but yes.
I'm sticking to that. We have more evidence of that in this episode.
When he's trying
when
to
they
shut
try to
down
depower the gate.
Yeah.
Yep. Him and Siler, they're both wearing the same outfits. They each grab a handle. Siler gets thrown across the room and knocked out, and Jack just kind of shakes it off.
Yeah. Jack just fucking absorbs it.
He's like, this is just a Wednesday to me. I'm done.
He goes, that's like my alarm clock going off.
Yep.
Well played.
And then there was a point where Hammond was talking about how the gate's been open longer than the theoretical limit, and then at one point after that says that the wormhole has been open for 10 minutes. I'm not sure what he thought the theoretical limit was because we know it to be 37 minutes.
We had already known that to be, yeah, you're right.
And he didn't know that they were time dilated, and I think it was just a writing
Which,
issue.
Side note, that comes back in play in 2 episodes.
Yes.
Which and we'll talk about it then, but that kind of didn't piss me off, but I'm like, we already know this, you know?
And nothing hit the iris. I'm so sorry, but the iris itself did disappear in this episode.
Yeah.
I hope that makes you happy.
Yeah, that did. You're right. It makes me sad that nothing hit it, but we got to pay off on the disintegration of that thing, you know? And again, we're talking about an episode that aired in 99 on TV. Like the visuals were great. The last 20 minutes of that episode, the visuals were great for 1999 television, you know? So, no, there was something else I wanted to say about that. And, I didn't have it in my notes. You had said something and well, that's great because I can't remember now. So the problem is it's going to hit me when we're talking about like Serpent Song or something, but
it's always there.
I know. So yeah, so I think we can both agree. Good episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good episode.
All right. High fives. That's what I like to hear, man. I mean, I hate you, but I like it when we agree on some things. You know?
I like you and I hate it when we agree on things.
Wow. That's just a contradiction in and of itself, isn't it, for us? Okay. So let's take a look at episode 17, Holiday.
Holiday.
Really, Madonna?
This is going to be the musical episode. You didn't know?
Shit. I didn't get the memo. I was not prepared. Fuck. All right. You go ahead and walk us through and I'll see if I can't whip up something.
All right. I got a short description for this
Okay.
one. So we step through the gate. We meet Rip Van Machello. He swaps bodies with Daniel and then goes walkabout. Team goes to find him and wackiness ensues. He wants to give up his knowledge, which is great, and his skills in fighting the Goa'uld in exchange for, just keeping Daniel's body, which I really don't see the downside to.
Okay. I just didn't like this fucking episode. I'll be honest, man. Like,
no, it was a definite filler episode.
Yeah, it was, man. We got 2 filler episodes this week, right? And, there's a very contrasting viewpoint here between Matter of Time and Holiday. Whereas I think Matter of Time is a filler because it doesn't like push the overall story arc forward just like Holiday does, but Matter of Time does it so much fucking better in terms of telling an interesting story, to me at least. There are probably people out there that loved Holiday, loved the lightheartedness of it, I guess if you want to call them jokes, like.
Yeah, well, it's a chance for the actors to kind of get out of that role and explore other ways of acting.
Yes.
So in that respect, I do like it. The thing again, and this is from the argument from last week, I like the idea that we're introducing a new technology. I like the idea that we have the potential for more knowledge to come in if Carter can ever decipher Machello's PDA. I don't know that they capitalize on it. You know? I don't think that they do in this case.
The problem, so there were some shining moments of this episode, okay? I didn't hate the episode. I just didn't like it. There were shining moments, and every shining moment, I think, just trying to recall this, every shining moment came from the actor, not necessarily the writing, but it was the actor. Like seeing Teal'c not be Teal'c. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. Teal'c as Jack was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yes. And it worked, and I can appreciate that. But again, that was the acting of that, you know?
Yeah.
And even the vice versa, Jack being Teal'c, you know?
Yep. Oh yeah.
The writing is what did it, or the acting is what did it for me. The actual story at the end of the day, I don't know, man, like we've seen this version of this type of story, God knows how many times. The whole body swapping, you know, like, what's the big Disney one? The really popular, the one where mom and daughter switch.
Oh, Freaky
Friday. You know, like.
Where the hell did I pull that?
Probably because you just went and fucking saw Beauty and the Beast, so you got your inner Disney Channel right now. But that's basically what this is. It's a Freaky Friday with 4 people. Wait, Jack, Teal'c, Monticello. You got 4 people in this weird, twisted Freaky Friday, you know? And
you do. I like the fact that they can't swap back though. I thought that was a nice little twist to it. You know, it was like a logic puzzle, which I'm nerdy enough to love. And Carter was the only one to figure it out when even the guy that created it couldn't.
Yes. Now, did you get the suspicion that he couldn't, or he just wasn't willing to tell them?
I don't know. I mean, I know he encoded it, and I think he's just smart enough to think that would work, but I think Carter outsmarted him. See,
when I watched it, I felt like he was finally just saying, okay, fine, here, we're going to do this. You know, like he didn't directly tell them how to do it, but he hinted at it and then let Carter kind of figure it out from there. That's just that's how I got out of it.
See, I don't think he would have touched it if he knew it was going to work. I think he would have just said, fuck it. And cause I think he thought he was going to keep a body, any of the bodies that was there.
But even after Daniel's little speech about how he was just as bad as the Gould for not letting him go off and find his wife.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm a sociopath because I'd be like, that's fine. I have to live. You're going to die.
Yeah. You're fucked, buddy. It's good seeing you.
Yep. If I see her, I'll give her the old 1-2 for you.
Yeah.
Then I'll tell her we swap bodies.
That would be fucking horrendous.
Well, we'll get into that when we get to Universe.
Yeah. But no, I don't know, man. This was the epitome of filler, and fuck it. Like, I didn't need this shit. I didn't need this fucking episode.
Yeah, I feel like there were, there was nothing redeeming really about this
Again,
episode.
man, I would have much rather you give me Matter of Time in 2 parts. Like fill out Matter of Time a little bit more, or even Serpent Song, which we're about to talk about. Serpent Song, I think, could have been a 2-episoder and gotten rid of Holiday.
Yeah.
So I think that's my problem with some of these filler episodes, though, is that it always seems like it's either before or directly after an episode that could have been a 2-parter and provided more than what this episode did.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of it comes down to varying the diet so people don't get bored. Because if it was all just 2-parters, you wouldn't want to watch a 2-parter every
You
week.
wouldn't, and I agree with you there. I do agree with you there. But I also don't want fucking 4 episodes like this every goddamn fucking season. You know? And I'm not saying we've gotten 4 like this. I'm just saying, you know, like, I don't know, man. I just think that after watching Matter of Time, when we get 2 filler episodes back to back, and A Matter of Time is just so much better, well written, like so much better of a story. And then you get this fucking fluffer episode, you know, and I'm just like, fuck off, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just it. Like, that's the weird part. A Matter of Time, I wanted to watch it a second time, you know? And I'm like, oh no, I want to watch these other 2 episodes. I'm like, fuck, I should have just watched A Matter of Time twice. Just like,
yeah. I mean, I have 4 notes total about this episode.
All right, let's have them.
I honestly don't even know what the first one means. Because it doesn't make much sense to me, but it says Carter was performing her version of First Aid. Wouldn't it be better all around to have Daniel dial home? Because I think they wanted to have Daniel do something to someone. I don't know what it was, but really it's Daniel's job to dial home every fucking time, and they didn't want him dialing home this time, and it's just a contrived reason for him to shit.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know what.
We already talked about. Holy shit! I love Chris Judge playing Jack.
Yes.
At one point, Teal'c says that they found Cassandra on P8X987, and it's PX8987.
Oh Lord, you fucking Trekkie.
I'm sorry, I fucking looked it up just to make sure I was right, but
you're fine. You're fine.
And then the last one is the waitress from the diner. I couldn't decide if she was a waitress or a 90s flight attendant.
Ooh.
Because of the ascot that she was wearing, because that thing was just free.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man, that whole fucking scene. He's like, you know, I'm going to dine with my friend and it's on me. And he's like, it's, you know, everybody's is on me.
That sounded creepy and sexual.
Dude, yeah. Okay. So again, like I said just a few minutes ago, what saved this episode was the actors, you know, and Daniel did do a good job becoming another person. You know what I'm saying? Like changing his voice slightly, his mannerism slightly. It was believable.
Yeah.
You know,
twice because he was Michello.
He was Michello. Yes. And then had to do it with Jack. Yes. Yeah. Other than that, man, there was a great interaction between Jack inside of Teal'c and Teal'c inside of Jack, where Teal'c tells Jack that he has to shave his head that he can't have, he wants, and, Tilk's just, trying to plead with him to fucking just hold off on shaving his fucking head, so that, again, I guess it had its moments, but not enough for me to enjoy the episode altogether. So that was my odd man out.
We agree.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So, last episode of the evening, Serpent Song. Hit me.
All right. So we get a call from someone to go pick them up. Surprise, it's Apophis. He wants sanctuary and a nice young body. We basically debate about that for half an hour, and then he dies, and we shove his lifeless corpse through the Stargate to stop the attacks that have been going on in his the time on Earth. And once we send him through, we stop the attacks, and everybody leaves us alone, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah. Well, what did you think? We'll start with your thoughts here.
I thought it was a good episode. I thought it really kind of hammered home what can happen with that 37-minute window. And, every time this happens, Carter devises a way to make us dial out faster and somehow stops them. But I thought it was really cool. I think it's nice to see another competent enemy coming up. We're going to see more from him, I'm sure, in the next couple of episodes, and then later after that. Pretty cool.
And that was Sokar, right? That's how you pronounce that? Sokar.
Yeah, Sokar.
Okay. I thought it was a interesting story idea that, Apophis being captured and tortured, that he knew that, if he could get a hold of Tari, that would be the one people that would take him back,
Yeah, because we're suckers. We're not just gonna kill him.
Well, Jack was ready. Jack was all on board with let's just fucking end this shit right now,
Yeah, but Jack also is really weird and says things like, cover up, and then falls to the ground like he's one of those fainting goats that stops dead when you yell.
Yeah, true story. So there were definitely parts of that episode, besides Carter, it seemed like all of our other core members of the team had their own little fucking 5 minutes alone with Apophis, Mm-hmm. And, out of those interactions, I thought clearly, Daniel's interaction with Apophis, was the best. Jack goes in there and it's just, it almost seemed like two warriors butting heads, and you kind of got the same feeling with Teal'c, that you had two competent warriors butting heads at each other. And with Daniels, it was more of, Daniel's heart was actually there in terms of looking
visceral, emotional, raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Looking for Sharpay. Sharpay. Looking for his goddamn dog. But I thought that Daniel's interaction with Apophis was very well written. All said and done, and I'll backtrack a little bit. I really did like the episode. We got introduced to quite a bit of new stuff. And again, what we were talking about earlier is the concept of, am I an idiot? Didn't they already establish how long a wormhole could be open before this episode?
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it
they've
before.
They've timed it before because they've had to.
Yep.
So I didn't understand where, Carter and her boyfriend, was that the same actor?
I think, I don't know. I had the same thought. I thought so, but then I questioned myself.
And it's fine. I did too, man. I was looking at him. I'm like, is that son of a bitch? But I couldn't make up my mind for sure.
I'm looking at my keyboard now. Like we could fucking look it up, but I don't.
We
care.
could. I mean, if you want to, by all means, go ahead, homie.
It's, you know what? It's him. I'm just going to say,
all right. I second that. They were talking about it and I'm like, we've had this conversation before, not too many episodes ago, that we've established how long we can keep one open. So we got a touch of new technology from the Goa'uld, that particle blaster.
Yep, exactly.
Which I thought was a new and I thought it was a very good way to introduce a weapon that could, cause up until this point, the Iris was it. Like we were good. Like there was no threat because we had the Iris.
No. I mean, we had 18 Iris splats in this episode.
Oh, I love you that you counted that shit.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah, we had no real threat because that iris, once they shut it, it was over. It was game over. We got this. We're on lockdown now.
And we just got the iris back from a matter of time.
Yeah. And then fucking Sokar wants to fuck that shit up.
Yeah.
I thought the visuals were really cool though. Actually, there were a couple of different parts. The first one being when Sokar kind of, manifests himself. You kind of get that little visual.
When he manipulated the screen.
Yeah. I thought that worked.
Yeah,
I thought it worked. I thought it was kind of cool. And then when you actually kind of got the heated up iris and the slight warping of it, I thought that was really cool.
Before either of those, though, the coolest visual in this episode for me was when they were on the planet after they picked up Apophis and they're coming back through, and you get the camera just behind Jack going backwards.
Yeah.
That was real. That felt like a ride at Universal. Like that felt like something I wanted.
And that was
to
definitely the first time we've seen that, right? Okay.
That was, yeah. I mean, we've seen From the Back of the Gate before, but we've never
gone through backwards. Yeah. I thought that was incredibly well done too. You're absolutely right. Thank you for mentioning that. I had forgotten about that. And what's crazy is that we got that right after we got some cheesy shots of a flyer of a death glider. But yeah, that visual of Jack coming through the gate backwards and shooting out, like that was just so well done. So well done. Mm-hmm. There was actually a lot of good stuff about this episode. We got to, hear, Apophis's, host. Thank you. Duh. I was looking up something. Yeah, we got to hear his host for the first time and, kind of barely start to scratch the surface on his backstory and whatnot. It was Peter DeLuise. That's right. This was Peter DeLuise's first, directing episode.
That's right. Yep. We'd mentioned that.
Yeah. So maybe that, some of the visual changes were a direct result of that, but, what else new did we get in this episode? Definitely got introduced to Sokar, whom, we only got to scratch the surface of, but I know there's going to be a lot more there. And then also, you kind of get the feeling that like the SGC is finally starting to make some waves out in the universe.
Yeah. We're recognized. We're, the first go-to for Apophis. Sokar knows that we're going to take him and that we have him. It's kicking shit over and seeing what happens.
Yeah. And the Tok'ra are not real happy about it.
No.
They are quite pissy, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get Carter's dad giving her the dad look. What did you do?
And clearly I'm wrong. I thought they gave the Tok'ra a GDO prior to this episode, like a couple episodes ago, but clearly they didn't. They've got one now.
No. Yeah, they have one now. No, before now we had the box that had the isotope
that we could identify.
Yeah, which I don't remember if they used that. They used it once, I believe, but not more than once.
In previous episodes or in this episode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I believe you're right. Yeah. Cause they definitely used it in this episode to get our attention, but, so now the Tok'ra do have a GDO. And when we deliver Apophis is dead as we know it. But then we're told immediately that no, it's going to be fine. They're going to throw him in a sarcophagus. And, they're just going to keep torturing him now,
I blame Daniel for that oversight. If anyone on the team
should have
be
known.
Like, oh no, wait, they'll revive him. It's that guy.
And we did get a bit of a throwback, and I'm not going to remember the episode name, and I'm okay with that. We got a great throwback where, when Apophis is dying, not only is he dying, but he's going through withdrawals. The same type of thing that we saw with Daniel, and fuck it. I can't remember the goddamn episode. Sorry. Family, Message in a Bottle. I can't remember. But, again, just a quick little throwback. Something that we had seen before with Daniel, that Apophis is now going through the same thing. That it takes this almost like heroin, like fucking cold turkey approach to it,
Need.
Was it Need?
Season 2, episode 5.
All right. I was knocking on the door. I was like, Message in a Bottle, and I was just 2 episodes away. yeah, we got introduced to quite a bit. I thought it was a great episode. Like I said, my biggest thing was how each one of the team kind of got their little 5 minutes with Apophis, except for Carter, who, they talked about briefly about how she would make a good queen host for, Sokar and shit like that. So.
Yeah, we kind of got that like he can sense that she used to be a host for Atokra or Gold. And so that kind of lays the groundwork for her to have that sense, from people. Cause I think we've seen some of that, but they haven't really fleshed that out yet.
Not yet. But I also don't think they've had to flesh that out quite yet. That's definitely one of those ideas that's just sitting in the wind, waiting to become a reality.
Yeah. It's seeds.
You're damn right.
We're going to get the fruit from it later. I did like how the opening of this episode, it's funny, 2 episodes ago was definitely Star Trek. This opening was definitely the opening to A New Hope.
You're damn right,
Star
sir.
Wars.
You are damn right. Yeah. Nope.
So, really pulling on those sci-fi heartstrings.
Oh, and by all means, man, pull on them. Cause you're not tugging at my heartstrings with a show like this, like many, okay, side note, we haven't had a Daniel death in quite some time. So
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back through my notes next time he dies and actually tally it up again.
I think we were at 5 or 6. I think so far.
We have.
But yeah, no, this type of show, at least with the type of person I am, you're not going to tug at my heartstrings. You're not going to write a story that tugs on my heartstrings. What you can do is tug at my sci-fi strings, and kind of, I don't know if they meant to pay homage to that or if that's just the way it worked out. I like to think that they were trying to just a little homage to fucking, Star Wars there. A little high five, if you will, but man, just a really good episode. And again, the other thing I wanted to mention was, when Teal'c and Apophis had their little moment, there was some banter there. They're going back and forth. And Teal'c talks about how it was his people's turn to use them, like they were just going to start getting rid of the larva as soon as it matured and just get a younger one. And he goes, now it's our turn to live off of you, that type of thing. So
turnabout's fair play.
Absolutely. And,
but I did love that where Apophis was like, you used to be my most loyal prime. And it's like, yeah, you know what?
Times change. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I also thought you were a god. So there's that.
I guess we're both to blame.
I guess we're both idiots here. Other than that, man, there was a throwback to the Unas in there, when they were talking about Sokar's, time on Earth, or, his legend through Egypt type of thing. And they did speak about the Unas a little bit because I hadn't, as far as I can remember, we hadn't heard anything other than, Thor's hammer about that. So.
Yeah, no, we haven't, not since.
Not since then. Any final episodes about, or final thoughts about the Serpent Song?
No, I got nothing else. We've touched on everything. It was an awesome episode overall. And I just think it kind of starts to lay groundwork for some cool stuff.
I think so too. I think we definitely got a lot of great groundwork here. So next week we're looking at, episodes 19, 20, and 21 of season 2. That's, One False Step, Show and Tell, and 1969. And I've got a really bad fucking feeling. I remember 1969 and I think it's a filler and I'm not happy about it, but.
1, fuck you. And 2, I do remember it and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Spoilers here. I feel like, and again, I could be way wrong. I could not be remembering this right. I feel like they basically copied an episode of The Next Generation.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how can you go back in time and not do that? Because The Next Generation was a time travel show that just happened to be set in space.
You're not, just because you did a podcast about time travel doesn't make you an expert now, sir.
Well, that was a trope of Star Trek in general. If you look at Voyager, the first 7 episodes, 4 of them involve time travel in some way.
But we're about to go on a tangent. That's what made those shows great, though. I loved Voyager, by the way. Thoroughly loved Voyager.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, Voyager was one of my favorites.
I think it may have been my favorite, man, to be honest with you. I got a soft spot for Enterprise.
Okay. I had never watched Enterprise up until earlier, late last year, earlier this year, when I went through the entire of Star Trek. I loved Voyager the best. I think Deep Space Nine after that, Next Generation, and then Enterprise, and then the original series.
No, I would absolutely differ with you, but that's a whole other fucking hour and a half long conversation we could easily have, I think. Let's have it. Cause I'm not afraid
Tim
of tangents,
Russ.
motherfucker. Like I can do this all day.
Tim Russ, he played Tuvok. I found from Reddit, so I'm totally stealing this. He is the guy from Spaceballs that says, "We ain't found shit."
No fucking way. No way.
Yes.
When he's like, comb the desert and they pan over and he's got that fucking pick and he's like, "We ain't found shit. That's bullshit."
Shit. Yep.
That is
him.
Bullshit. You keep talking. Give me some filler because I'm looking this up right now.
You go ahead, look it up, and you're not going to edit any of this out when you're wrong, because I'm going to talk over this so that it doesn't make any sense if you do edit this down for anybody that's listening. I have the ability to talk. I'm in sales. This is nothing to me. I can talk your ear off. You got it.
Look, man, I'm looking it up right now. God, that guy did not age well, by the way.
No.
Fuck me in the butt, man. Yeah, he's the trooper. That he's just labeled as trooper.
Right.
Wow, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy, dude. Oh man. Yeah, we ain't found shit. Oh, that's fucking fantastic. But wasn't he also in a Star Trek movie? He was in a TNG movie, if I remember right.
Was he? Yeah, they did a lot of that where they had a lot of, like Stargate does. Where they had a lot of people that crossed over in weird ways and sort of doubled up, and then swapped out, and different actors play the same character. And you got like Ensign Ro Laren was supposed to be Kira on Deep Space Nine, but she didn't want to commit to it, so they killed her.
Yeah, no. He was in Generations, which, if I remember right, there's an opening scene, like a little press conference. He's there. And then he played Tuvok on Deep Space Nine and then went on to Tuvok in Voyager. So, yeah. Yeah, great little side note, man. That is fantastic. Like, that's what Spaceballs is one of the greatest movies. One of the funniest movies ever written. If there's anybody that hasn't listened or seen that fucking shit, go out and fucking stop this goddamn podcast right now. And,
I'm still waiting for the sequel.
No, it's coming. I guarantee you that shit's happening, dude. There's no way. The only thing that's going to stop that from happening is Mel Brooks dying at this point. Which, knock on wood,
right?
I don't want to see that happen. So,
yeah.
But, I think that's all the rambling I had. Thank you for sticking around for that little rambling there. Sorry. It happens from time to time. So, please bring it on. Next week, like I said, One False Step, Show and Tell 1969. That's going to be, pretty much finishing off season 2. And then the week after that, we're going to get to the season finale of season 2, and we'll jump right into season 3, and we'll also do a season 2 recap show. So if there's anything that, you wanted to talk about, not you, Kevin, you, the listener, anybody had anything they wanted to talk about season 2, please hit us up on Reddit, hit us up on email. Let us know.
Oh, speaking of which, I just wanted to thank a bunch of the people that reached out to us on Reddit, this past week. That was really cool to get some feedback from people and to have that conversation.
It absolutely was. We always appreciate it, you know. Although I'm still not going to jump into Eve right now.
No,
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm waiting big on Star Citizen, and Star Citizen's going to that's going to time sink me really bad. I got a bad feeling, so I'm going to save my mental energy for Star Citizen, even though that game could be like another fucking 8 years before we fucking see that shit. So who knows? But thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for all the downloads. Thank you for all the support. We always appreciate it. Kevin, any final words?
No, that is everything I got. We'll see
all right. Have a good night.